Good afternoon and happy holidays, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. Welcome to the Thanksgiving edition of the NFL Today. And whether you're visiting with family and friends or hosting them at home, we're glad you're spending part of your holiday with us. Terry, of course, is always in a Thanksgiving frame of mind, and Thanksgiving Day here in New York means parade day. I know you love a parade.
Well, I've always seen this Thanksgiving Day parade, and remember growing up watching you on television. I finally got to go down and take my wife and my daughter and my brother and his families here, and we saw it in person and had a wonderful time before we came over.
I'm glad someone did. Let's talk a little turkey about football. Coming up, we have Washington against Dallas, and this is a vital game for the Redskins, who share second place with the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC East. Washington knows it has to keep winning to remain in the playoff chase. And so as we look around the NFL today on this Thanksgiving afternoon, all eyes are upon Texas Stadium. Redskins quarterback Mark Rypien coming off the best performance of his career. After a 7-week absence due to an injured knee, Rypien shredded the New Orleans secondary for touchdown passes last week. His Cowboy counterpart, Troy Aikman, is also feeling good about his productive outing last Sunday. The second-year man tossed 3 scoring strikes and led Dallas to a come-from-behind victory over the Los Angeles Rams. And while that may have very well been a turning point for Troy Aikman, what about the last time these teams met? Redskins gave Troy Aikman a tough run.
Yeah, you know, normally, Greg, young quarterbacks have problems with safety blitzes in third-down situations. But the thing that got Troy Aikman the last time against the Redskins, they sacked him 8 times, and those came off of, believe it or not, linebacker blitzes. I want to show you. Notice that where this circle, that's a linebacker. That's Wilbur Marshall. Now, the other point is, notice this back. Notice that Marshall is the opposite guy of that back. Marshall's simple little bit, just down and inside. But the key here is he's blitzing away from this back. Once he clears this line of scrimmage, notice there is no back to his side to pick him up once he clears the line of scrimmage. Very simple blitz, and the Cowboys just kept messing it up. Notice there comes Marshall inside. No back there to help out. Troy Aikman gets sacked. So what you're going to see today is you're going to see that blitz right off the bat by the Redskins. The Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson says very simple. It was a mental mistake by our academic All-American center, Stepnowski. He's got it down. They'll try it. We'll stop it. And then the Redskins, who love the blitz, they'll come up with something else.
Try something else. All right, well, while they get ready down in Dallas, of course, the other traditional Thanksgiving game is in Detroit, where Lions owner G.A. Richards came up with the idea of a holiday game 56 years ago, and in this 1990 version, the Lions carved up the Denver Broncos by a score of 40-27. And Bob Galliano and Barry Sanders had the good days today. This is Galliano connecting with Richard Johnson for his second touchdown of the day. That put Detroit up 21-7. Galliano throwing for 3 TDs all told, and Barry Sanders broke loose today.
Well, one of the things Wayne Fontes was getting a lot of criticism for, the head coach of the Lions, was when you going to get Barry Sanders the ball? Well, he gets it today. He has a big day, and I have to say this. If the Super Bowl were played on Thanksgiving Day in Detroit, the Lions would win every year.
Let's keep in mind, too, last year's AFC representative in the Super Bowl, the Denver Broncos, have now lost 4 in a row and 7 of their last 8 games. One NFL player for whom this Thanksgiving has special meaning is Dexter Manley. On Monday, Commissioner Paul Tagliabue reinstated him after a drug suspension lasting a year and a day. Dexter, who is a man of many emotions, was elated to be back, but disappointed that the Redskins shunned him, allowing Phoenix to claim him on waivers.
It's just not the same anymore, you know. I mean, I used to say when I die, I always tell my wife I want to have my body cremated. I wanted to dump my ashes at RFK Stadium. I really did.
Emotional week for a very emotional man. I spoke with GM Charlie Casserly of the Redskins earlier this week, and he voiced the opinion that many fans have, that to know Dexter Manley is to wish him well for whichever team he plays. Looking ahead to Sunday for a moment, if the results fall the right way, we could have an unprecedented trifecta, with the 49ers clinching the NFC West title, the Bears regaining their Central crown, and the Giants salting away the East. Each of those would-be divisional kings plays on Sunday, including the Giants, who visit Philadelphia. But as big as that game looms, are both teams loose this week or what? Well, the Giants, who've been making a statement on the field, made a fashion statement, letting the Eagles know that theirs is a button-down team.
If we're doing fashion shows and we're 10-0, I'd suggest the Eagles go down to Brooks Brothers and get themselves a couple suits and start hanging out together.
The Eagles do hang out together. Monday nights they have a bowling league, and Tuesday night they turned up in black tie for the world premiere of Keith Jackson's rap, Coming Back Hard.
Prime time when I rhyme and rap. but other brothers need to get that like Reggie White, second on the salary list, 6'5", 290, don't make him fit, a possible death wish. Other names care not to miss, like Jerome Brown, he's got a lot to say. Pitch caused havoc by the way he plays. Clyde Simmons, get out his way. Looking for a touchdown, not today.
I'm rapping.
Yeah, I know. Easily the best rap song I've ever heard. You know, the Eagles could beat the Giants.
Of course they could. And, you know, it might serve the Giants well because they're going to play the 49ers, and that might give some incentive there. The things you look for in great games, though, when the Eagles and the Giants play this time, both of these teams are playing at their very peak performance. It should be one whale of a game come Sunday.
All right, Terry, on this Thanksgiving Day, there are some serious events taking place around the world. To bring us up to date on developments in the Persian Gulf, here's a report from CBS News and Dan Rather.
As he made his Thanksgiving tour of the desert and the Gulf, President Bush couldn't tell the troops how long they'd be here, but he did try to convince them that they are here for good reason.
What we're confronting is a classic bully who thinks he can get away with kicking sand in the face of the world. And so far we have acted with restraint, as is our way. But Saddam is making the mistake of his life if he confuses an abundance of restraint and patience with a lack of resolve.
Mr. Bush also warned that Iraq may someday have nuclear weapons.
Every day that passes brings Saddam Hussein one step closer to realizing his goal of a nuclear weapons arsenal, and that's another reason, frankly, why more and more our mission is marked by a real sense of urgency.
One tiny sweet potato and a little bit of corn.
The President, First Lady Barbara Bush, and congressional leaders shared Thanksgiving dinner with U.S. Marines and British desert rats at a base not far from the Kuwaiti border. There, the President paid tribute to his chief ally in the Gulf commitment, Margaret Thatcher, who today stepped down under fire.
She has been an outstanding Prime Minister for the United Kingdom and an outstanding friend of the United States.
Good to see you, fellas. Good to see you guys.
Mrs. Thatcher's resignation may weaken a key link in the Gulf alliance. Tonight, the President flew to Egypt to resume his talks with Arab allies. Dan Rather, CBS News in the Persian Gulf.
So aggressive, it mastered Germany.
Is sponsored by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. True Value, you can do it with True Value hardware stores. And by Cotton Incorporated for America's cotton growers. Cotton, the fabric of our lives.
Welcome back to the NFL Today, everyone, where we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the NFL broadcasting partnership between Pat Summerall and John Madden. And this cartoon in today's Dallas Morning News captures that unique chemistry that has evolved during their 500 hours on the air together.
There's nothing like sitting at home on a Sunday afternoon, watching football with my two best pals, Pat Summerall, John Madden.
Well, by George, talk about a 1-2 combination. Pat and John have never been known to pull any punches in their decade together up in the booth, where they've seen and called just about everything.
Hurry. It's good. It's good.
To the Navarro touchdown.
Dexter Clinksdale could go, should go, will go. Unbelievable. They lost Eddie Murray. They lost the kicker. There he is. No, that's the holder.
I think they're the best. They tell it the way it is. They don't pull any punches. In fact, I have a show with a guy named Older.
Taylor has him. Frank gets a reversal. Taylor's going for the reversal. Frank gets a pin. Referee says that's it. No more. 1, 2, 3. Well. Hey, that's Tom Brookshire, and you know, you always talk about great players, and the thing is he just lost his wristwatch.
It isn't Sunday afternoon without Pat and John. You're waiting for them. You know the diagrams are going to come up. What did I miss in that last play?
Like, this is a father bucket, this is a mother bucket, and since the last game, they had a baby bucket.
I guess that clears up the question as to whether they're married or not.
John, Pat, happy Thanksgiving. Congratulations, 10 years. It's a wonderful thing, and yet I'm depressed. I got an inside scoop today. I hate to share it with the country, but I found out you've been lip-syncing the last 10 years, and it hasn't been you.
John, Pat, happy anniversary. I got to go be a Bubba right now. I got my Bubba hat on.
God bless you guys.
Then it's Murder, She Wrote, starring Angela Lansbury.
Congratulations to Pat and John on their 10th anniversary. I've always enjoyed their coverage of the NFL on CBS.
How does he feel, John?
I'll tell you, he feels great. This is as good as it gets. Doesn't get any better than this. And the great thing about it, it lasts forever.
And they don't get any better than those two gentlemen standing by at Texas Stadium. Pat and John, congratulations and happy anniversary.
Well, thank you very much. All I can say is we've been lucky to be together, and I hope it lasts forever.
Well, it's something that has been a great 10 years, a great 10 years of doing games and being here on Thanksgiving, our 10th Thanksgiving day together. I couldn't think of any place that I'd rather be.
Well, you want to talk about the football game, but we thank you for that tribute. That was great.
That's all right. It's our pleasure. Yeah, let's talk about this game and how much coming of age has Troy Aikman done, and how together are the Redskins with Mark Rippon now?
Well, our impression was, of course, the Dallas Cowboys come off their strongest offensive performance of the year last week in their victory over the Rams. And I'm not sure, and I don't think they're really sure. Are you, John? Are they back? Are they on the track or what?
Well, I think they're on the track. I mean, you know, there's a far-fetched thing that they could be in the playoffs this year. I really don't think that, but they're starting to come together. I mean, Troy Aikman kind of let loose last week. He threw 3 touchdown passes against the Rams. They got Michael Irvin back, their best receiver. He caught 2 of those touchdown passes. And I think that their #1 draft choice this year, Emmitt Smith, is finally fitting into their offense.
Now, the Redskins, of course, still very much alive in the hopes for playoffs. What about them? There are certain teams, Dallas being the one against the Redskins, that seem to be somewhat of a nemesis. They just always give them trouble.
You know, that's strange. I remember when I was coaching the Oakland Raiders, we would be a good team. The San Diego Chargers were bad, but they always gave us a tough time. And you just have those types of teams. And Joe Gibbs was saying it last night. He said, I don't know what it is with these guys. I see other teams blow them out, then we play them and we struggle. The Cowboys only won 1 game last year, and that was against these Redskins. He said in the last 2 times they've played, they haven't scored an offensive touchdown. They have Mark Rippon back. He came back last week, threw 4 touchdown passes. I think they have to get the ball to the posse.
Well, the 10 years that we've been together, and we'll watch this one with interest today, the 10 years that we've been together doesn't seem anywhere like 10 years. It's been so much fun. Back to you, Greg.
Pat and John, thank you. And once again, our congratulations. When we come back, Leslie Visser with a special Thanksgiving Day story about the Super Bowl champion 49ers and how they try to spread some holiday cheer throughout the Bay Area when we continue on the NFL Today. Time now for a look at why football fans should count their blessings today. Pat O'Brien puts it all into perspective and into rhyme.
This is the day when we're surely all thankful that we're not one of those guys who gets cold thankfuls. You should think about things that are pretty and nice, like one of those deals between Montana and Rice. Thankful that you've seen some plays that are spinners, and that Tagliabue and Weish will never have dinner. Thankful there's room for Icky and Prime, and for all those guys who can stop on a dime. Thankful the games are ever so shorter, and oh, how we love guys who run on the border. Give thanks on this day that you're not a skipper when nothing is working to win for the Gipper. Some coaches are thanking the gods of age, like Ryan, Noel, Knox, and the Sage. Thankful as always for the spectacular show, and how long will these guys go something and oh? Thankful for players whose names we didn't know, and ever so thankful for Marcus and Bo. And hopeful that soon these fans will be back to enjoy a good pass, a run, and a sack. What really counts goes beyond money and fame. Thank God we remember it's only a game.
Our resident poet laureate, Pat O'Brien. He does a nice job, doesn't he?
He did give us all thanks. Thanksgiving to Pat.
Yes, Thanksgiving is a great day. Thanksgiving to everybody. It's wonderful.
Well, we want to remind you we have some special halftime activities planned this Thanksgiving afternoon, including a visit to the New Jersey home of Giants running back Maurice Carthon. And there'll be plenty of company with giant appetites. And that's Sydney Carthon, Maurice's wife, who is not about to hand off the cooking duties to anybody. Meanwhile, we're ready for kickoff down at Texas Stadium. Pat Summerall and John Madden are standing by. The Redskins and the Cowboys are next, right after this word from your local station.
Thanksgiving. A day for honoring age-old traditions and time spent in the company of friends and loved ones. It's also time for the Cowboys and Redskins to mix it up once again. There are older rivalries in the NFL than Dallas and Washington, but none come close to matching the intensity and bad blood that has existed between these two arch rivals. One of the most memorable games played was Thanksgiving Day 16 years ago. Roger Staubach had been knocked out. Washington led by 13. An unknown backup, Clint Longley, came off the bench to throw 3 touchdowns and beat the Redskins by 1. Over the years, the faces became as familiar as old friends. Sonny Jurgensen, grizzled Bob Lilly, war-weary Larry Brown, Walt Garrison, and John Riggins. Last year, the worst in Cowboy history, their lone victory was over Washington, a loss that still haunts the Redskins. So today, while the names may be Monusky and Aikman, Rippon, and Lockhart, one can almost see and hear the intensity of the old clashes.
Just remember this, 40 men together can't lose, okay?
Texas Stadium as the Redskins are in town to play the Cowboys. I'm Pat Summerall here with John Madden. This game, although the records of the Cowboys and Redskins are not as spectacular as some, has great magnitude. And John, let's just take a look at the standings in the NFC East.
Well, I think that'll show you what the Washington Redskins come in here, and we talked to Joe Gibbs, the players, last night. This is really a playoff game to them because maybe they don't have a chance for the division, but we know that there's going to be 3 wild cards this year, and the Redskins are in good shape for those. If we look at the standings, we know the Giants are 10-0. Now look at the next 2, the Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles at 6-4. What the Redskins would love to do, Pat, is win this game, then go home, have 10 days off, watch the Giants and the Eagles play on Sunday, and maybe for the first time root for the Giants.
And John, what about the Cowboys after coming off that dismal season last year when they only won 1 game, that over the Redskins? They seem to have things back on the right track, and they have some important people back today.
Well, the thing that they do is, you know, they have a second-year quarterback in Troy Aikman, and it's going to take him time, but he is starting to develop. You know, and last week, he threw 3 touchdown passes against the Rams. I think so. You got him on one side. Michael Irvin now is coming to his own. He caught 2 touchdown passes. So they feel good about playing the Redskins, and they know that last year they only won 1 game. They beat the Redskins, and they really think that they have their number, and they come into this game with a heck of a lot of confidence.
And they'll have first shot at the ball as you look at the head coach, Jimmy Johnson. They played 3 times on Thanksgiving Day, and Dallas has won all 3. 78, 74, and 68. And they'll be on offense with the Redskins. Chip Lowmiller will kick off.
You know, the last time they played, Pat, Jimmy Johnson was saying that the Redskins blitzed them 53 times. They sacked Aikman 8 times. So he said the #1 thing we have to do today is be able to get a little running and a heck of a lot better pass protection.
Keep those people away from Aikman, who said to us yesterday, of course, they played on Sunday. They beat the Rams, the Cowboys did. The Redskins won as well. But Aikman said, hey, I'm still sore from last Sunday's beating.
He could still be sore from the last beating the Redskins, right, even with those 8 sacks and 53 blitzes.
James Dixon and Derek Shepard back deep for Dallas. Dixon at about the 8. To about the 22. Stopped by Sidney Johnson. Troy Aikman starts at quarterback for Dallas. In front of him, Gogan, Kerr, Stepnowski, John Giesick, Nate Newton at right tackle now, and Jay Novacek at tight end. Emmett Smith and Tommy Agee in the backfield with Michael Irvin and Kelvin Martin, the wide receiver. Martin right, Irvin left.